Hi again. Okay, this is part two. You might see that I'm like totally blotchy because I went to upload everything and somehow I lost part two. So now I'm re recording part two and hoping that I'm not forgetting anything. So, part two. Okay, so I thought that I was a good person. And I was a good person. I was kind, I was compassionate. I volunteered at a homeless ministry. I volunteered at a nursing home. This is all before I accepted Christ. And so I volunteered at the school. I thought that I was a good person. I used to do this. I used to go through the 10 Commandments and I would be like, okay, I haven't done this one, haven't done this one, haven't done, oh, I did that one, I haven't done that one, I haven't done that one, I haven't, oh, I did that one. Okay, well, 7 out of 10, that's not bad, right? Yeah, I actually did that. Lying was like a big thing for me. Okay, so anyhow, I had this deal about me where I had all kinds of anger and bitterness and insecurities, and my deal was three strikes and you're out. Okay, the first time that you irritated me or pissed me off, I let it go. Okay, the second time, I gave you a warning. The third time, you were out of there. No more talking, no more phone calls, no more nothing. That was it. Okay, so I hope I'm not like repeating myself, but all right, so back to the guy at the Chamber of Commerce. All right, so I belong to these two chambers. I decide that I'm going to invite him to this big chamber, um, this big one. And, he can network and he can meet more people and it'll be good for him. So I invite him and he's networking. I'm networking. I sit down, I get something to eat. And then he sits down. And I don't know how I came to even know this, but he went to church 4 times a week. And I was like, can I ask you a question? Why do you go to church 4 times a week? I mean, that just sounded so stupid to me. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So he said, well, do you really want to know? And I'm like, yeah, I really want to know. So he starts telling me about this God that he knows, okay? And about how he goes to, hear the word and to grow, stronger in his faith and his walk with God, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. So by the time he gets done talking to me, I am just like so mad. I'm like, just take me home. So we get in the car. I find out later that he takes like the longest path he can possibly take to get home so I can cool down. Well, it didn't work because I got out of the car, slammed the car door, and like drove home. Well, during this time, like God just put a bunch more questions in my head. So I call this guy up and I have all these more questions. And I mean, I'm like a double barreled shotgun, like hitting him with all this stuff. I mean, thank God he was prayed up when he talked to me because it was like spiritual vomit that I just kept spewing on this guy. Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? And he would just keep saying, we live in a fallen world and this is not God's design. And, I'd say, well, why did my mom die when I was 9? And, why are all these children starving on the earth? And why is there AIDS? And why is there cancer? And why is there all this kind of stuff? And so, um, as the weeks went by, I would call him. He'd say, come on over, we'll talk about it. I'd get pissed off. I'd slam the door as I'm leaving his house and I'd go and then God just kept softening my heart and softening my heart. And I'd call again and say, okay, can you explain this to me? And we'd sit down and go over the Bible together and go over scriptures together. So one day he says, do you want to go to church with me? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And he says, well, I've kind of noticed the clothes that you wear and they're not really appropriate for church. And I'm like, what? What do you mean my clothes aren't appropriate for church? And at that time I was probably wearing something with like cleavage down to my belly button and skin tight jeans. And I was like, what's wrong with that? So he's like, here, I'm going to give you some money and go ahead and go get a new outfit. And I'm like, well, heck yeah, he's going to pay for my outfit. I'll go get something. I was so proud of what I got. I show it to him and he's like, yeah, no, that is not going to work. So I said, well, the only clothes in the store are like old lady clothes, unless you want me to have like a turtleneck up to here. What is it that you're expecting? So somehow we come to some kind of an agreement, and I decided to go to his church. And of course, he's late that day. And we get in there, and they're like so formal, you know, suits and ties and everything. And, you know, here's me. So I go there, and the pastor's talking, and I mean, he's so anointed to teach, but it is like Greek to me. He's speaking English, but I don't understand a thing he's saying. Like, it's all going like right over my head. I am not comprehending a thing. But, you know, I keep going because I have questions, and so I keep going, I keep going. And then one day, he has an altar call, and he says, you know, does anyone want to accept Jesus into their heart? And I was like, I do. And so that day, September 25th, 2005, at 7:30 p.m., I accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior. And my life has never been the same since. It has been amazing. All right, let me check my notes here to see if I forgot anything. Sorry. Okay, so I think that's all for this one, because then the next one we talk about finding a church together. But I wanted to add a little thing, so I'm kind of going ahead of myself to go back. But when we found this new church, he told me that his ex-wife went to this new church. And so, see, that's how the devil gets in there and tries to get you all jacked up. Because as soon as he said that, I'm like, oh, heck to the no, I'm not going to this church. I don't think so. And it took me maybe a couple weeks to like get over myself and, you know, remember, oh, Christians are all about love, right? And why should I care if she goes to that church? It was an irrational fear anyhow. So, you know, we started going there. But I just wanted to put that in because I forgot to put it in the third one. So hopefully that'll all tie in together for you. Okay, so this is part 2 of 3 parts. I'm sorry I keep like wiggle waggling here. It's the apparatus that's holding it to my wheelchair. So thanks for joining me on this journey. And part 3 is going to be the final part of my salvation story. All right, so I'll see you over there real quick. Bye.